Good day to you. Sean Doyle here from Washed in the Word with a word of encouragement for you. Today we're in Joshua chapter 5 and 6, and it's the famous Battle of Jericho. And you may know this very well, but there's still so much more of the story to tell. If you're familiar with Joshua 5 and 6, then you know that the Israelites faced their first real challenge militarily. They had to face down the walls of Jericho. The defenders were there. They had the high ground. They had 40-foot high walls, 6 feet thick. How are the Israelites possibly going to get past this very first obstacle militarily? And that brings us to the central theme of this passage, and that is that God's way is best. And I invite you to join us for the larger teaching where we really drill down on a lot of specifics on why God's way is best. But here's just a few to sort of give you a whetting of your appetite. God's people are called not to do what normally would happen. Normally you'd build siege works, you'd have ladders, you'd try to attack the city. God says, don't attack the city, march around the city. Well, that's crazy militarily. People can dump their rocks on you, like we see a millstone later in Israel's history where a woman pushes a rock and kills some Hebrew soldiers who get too close to the wall. They can fire their arrows at you. They can dump boiling oil or water on you. Like, it's just a terrible tactic, but God says that's what I want you to do. So that took great faith, didn't it? And then they go and they walk around, and even if no rocks are falling, I'm sure the taunts are falling. And the enemy is ridiculing them. You're never going to get our walls. You're never going to get us. Like, what are you doing? And they're to do this every day for 7 days. And on the 7th day, they march around 7 times, making themselves repeatedly vulnerable, taking in the taunts of the enemy. Why does God do that? Well, because God's way is best. God was going to do something. On the 7th day, after the 7th time, they were going to shout, and the walls of Jericho fall. Now, here's the thing. Jericho's a city of about 8 acres. That means it's got a wall that's maybe a mile or so in perimeter. There's about 600,000 Jewish soldiers, scholars tell us, at this point, walking around the wall. That means the people that walk around the wall are going home before the first people have finished walking around it, except for on the 7th day. On the 7th day, God's way, they're going to be walking and walking and walking 7 times. And that means when they shout, there's going to be the walls fall, and the best defenders are going to die instantly. Most of the enemy is going to be stunned that's remaining. They're going to have no defenses, and the Israelites are going to have a 360-degree, 7-fold envelopment, and they're going to be able to easily defeat the enemy because God's way is best. Friends, there's so much more in this passage, and I want to invite you to click on the link and go deeper in Scripture together and get washed in the Word today. Thanks, friends.